Decided to video throwing the last piston in too. Get these rings lined up where I want them. Bought a Proform ring compressor because it was cheap. And I'll say this, the one I borrowed from the machine shop worked a hell of a lot better. This one will get the job done, but it is nowhere near as butter smooth as the one the machine shop has. You could literally drop it in and push it in with 2 thumbs. It was beautiful. These take a little more force than I would care for, especially when you're spending $200 on a set of rings to shove them in there and have them crack on the edge of this because this slips out of place. But I've also done a hell of a lot worse with the old spring style sleeve compressor. Those things were fun. They would compress the rings, but they were also going to fight you tooth and nail every step of the way. But went together fairly smooth. I mean, I've only been on this for probably close to an hour to get the crank in and get the rods in. Did a mock assembly first before I even started on it, so that way I knew how everything was going to go in, where it was going to fit, what was going to be an issue, and what wasn't. The other video I said that we had a crank clearance issue. Well, I actually had to take it back to the machine shop and have the Mallory pushed back a little bit out of the counterweight because it was actually rubbing on the back of the block. It was barely clipping it, but it was there. And they said that that was a new one as far as an issue goes, but I'm also good at finding new issues. So it wasn't much of a surprise or big deal to me. But, you know, if you want normal, you build normal, and there's nothing normal about this block. So everything in this bastard is extremely tight. The fit, everything. The crank, the end play is very minimal. I've got just enough rod clearance to say that I have some. That's about it. But should be an interesting motor because I see a lot of LS builds with a 4250 stroke. 468s seem to be fairly popular, which is a 4250 stroke with a 4185 bore on the LS platform, which you can't do in a small block Chevrolet. That's a big block, which is a 4-inch stroke and a bigger bore on a big block. I think it's a 60 over on a big block. But just some different things to play with. This is something else I was going to point out too that I didn't notice when I first got this block. You got 2 dowel pins underneath these caps that locate everything, and you got these divots in each one of them. Well, and so you can put a screwdriver or a tool in there and pop the caps off and wiggle them instead of trying to pop them off by hand, because once these things get seated, they do not want to move. You've got to love tap them fairly stout to get them to go where you need them to be. Also wanted to get a shot of this too. Couldn't get it, see it clearly in the other video. A Cali Stealth crank, and it was forged in 1997. Like I said before, the guy that did it originally was intending to put this in a factory block 350, and like I said, the physics aren't there. You'd be, you know, into the water jacket on the pan rail, and you'd have been literally swinging right into the camshaft. Now, with everything basically in here and not torqued down, this is something else I was going to show. If you look down the cam tunnel, you can see that the rods and everything clear beautifully down there all the way. So I'm waiting on my cam, which at this point is going to be about 3-4 months. So like I said, this is going to be a slow process. It's not going to happen overnight, no matter how bad I want it to. But I got to wash, clean the block, paint it. There's plenty enough things to keep going and keep busy on it. But probably in the next video by then I should have my cam and chain and the valley plate, and then I can put the heads on it and see where it goes from there. Thanks.